Welcome to Deep Dives. I'm Pete Mathias, Senior Principal at Alumni Ventures. The Industrial Revolution was a hardware revolution. Railroads, steam engines, telegraph, all of this hardware had one critical piece of software that still powers the workplace today. That software is the organization chart, the org chart. And as it turns out, that software badly needs innovating. A small pocket of people are forcing that change. They're doing multiple jobs at the same time. We're digging deep into this discrete category. If you're paying attention, you may have seen it. If you're on TikTok, you can't miss it. So thanks for joining, and let's dive right in. I'm calling this space Mrs. Doubtfire Tech, after the movie character who famously did multiple jobs at the same time and was sneaky, surreptitious about it. So today, we're digging in. This is the org chart as it looked like for the Erie Railroad. This is the org chart as we know it. It powers almost every company on Earth. We're going to define Mrs. Doubtfire Tech. I'll share my views on the future of work, some trends driving change, numbers that are telling, companies creating fascinating new services and products, and spaces you can go to dig in to learn more. The org chart hasn't changed in 2 centuries. People are now forcing change. Why? Part talent, remote work makes it possible. The economy, inflation, recession, all that pressure on the purse, making 2 jobs essential. Technology, robotic processing automation lets some people automate their own jobs and take on another one. AI and ML, marketplaces help us find new jobs. Mrs. Doubtfire Tech, therefore, describes jobs with 3 traits. They're simultaneous, they're scalable, people sitting in front of their computers, and they're surreptitious. People don't want their employers to know about it. I'm not talking about the left. People have worked 2 jobs for forever. If it was a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 7, what they haven't done forever is do 2 jobs on the exact same timeline. They're sitting in front of a computer and working for 2 companies in that exact hour block, for example. And that is a breakthrough. This software that badly needs innovating, we have, because of remote work and hard economic times and new frontier, an opportunity. There's a first wave of adopters who, very similar to Mrs. Doubtfire, are sneakily doing these multiple jobs. Companies are at a crisis of decision making. They can either tolerate or ignore it, or they can innovate and accommodate it. And that is the market opportunity. Some startups already are ahead of the curve. They're building some really cool stuff, and we'll talk about it. But this is a massive, massive opportunity. Key success factors, what I'm looking for: transformative tech. I want it to shatter the org chart, not be incremental change. I'm looking for companies that allow intercompany full-time employee sharing. I'm looking for asset multipliers, tech that enables people to make more money given their constraints. What I am not looking for, what we want to avoid: another HR tech. We're not looking for something that sells into the HR function. We are looking for tech that sells successfully into chief innovation officers, chief transformation officers too. I'm not looking for productivity monitoring tools. We don't want a 1984 tech that employees hate. They need to love it. We are not looking for things that are too customized or bespoke. We don't want it tailored to one sector, org, or geography. We want it to be universal. A big checkpoint. Traditional work, you may earn a little bit more, you may earn more money over time. Asset multipliers help us increase more money given the asset base that we have. That's an important breakthrough. And we've seen this breakthrough be huge venture-sized opportunity. Where did we see it first? Companies like Airbnb. Airbnb lets you make more money with a key asset, your home. Another big company that helped you make more money with another asset, your car. Uber, another big company that helped you make more money with skills. Upwork is a side hustler's technology, and it is a huge, huge market opportunity. What I am talking about is companies that help you make more money with not a discrete skill, not a part-time gig, not the gig economy, but your career, your dedicated work. And that is the space we're talking about today. The numbers tell the story. Almost half Americans are working multiple jobs. People these days are taking on a dozen or more jobs in a lifetime. The plurality of jobs, the kinds of jobs have more than doubled since a generation ago. We are seeing 1 in 3 people look at their purse and say, hey, I need a new gig because of inflation, because of the cost of living. And this is a huge market. That chart here tells it all. This is something that is timely. The pandemic pivot to remote jobs has caused the number of people doing multiple jobs at once to go up and to the right. So looking forward, big, if this is going to be that, it's going to require people to stop hiding this and start promoting it. In other words, employers take note, and employees aren't shy about acknowledging that they're working at 2 places at once. The economics need to be win-win for both the employer and the employee, and tech needs to be a part of the national frameworks and public policies that recognize that talent is a source of national competitive edge. And I think that this is a big driver of that future of work that will impact Mrs. Doubtfire Tech. If it's going to be a flop, it's going to remain a fringe. It's going to be a TikTok. It's going to be a meme. It's going to be a viral video, but it's not going to be something that mainstream does. People might just prefer to be at one company, have one boss for simplicity. The economics might fail. The R&D may not be able to overcome that hurdle. But there are signs that it's big already. None of these companies is a perfect hit for Mrs. Doubtfire Tech, but they are a perfect illustration of what I am talking about. Upwork, illustrative of companies that became huge for contract workers. A company called Gloat that is doing really, really cool things at some of the world's biggest companies to support people doing multiple jobs within a big company. In other words, think of a company like Starbucks. Could the barista be in a project with the CMO? Well, traditional org chart, there's no way that's happening. Guess what? Companies like Gloat are totally exploding and doing really, really cool things. An Alumni Ventures portfolio company on the right here, Adept ID, helping with talent acquisition, using AI, using ML to really deep select individuals to join companies that otherwise might get missed out and looked over. Very, very cool company. And all 3 of these together are illustrative of that pattern. So you had the primer today. It was quick, but there's a lot here. So video, navigating the future of work. Jeff Schwartz from that company I mentioned, Gloat. This is a fascinating deep dive in and of itself on how to navigate the future of work. There's lots of podcasts. There's articles all over the place. You can just Google remote jobs 2 at once. You can also go on TikTok. I think that's a fascinating place to see people bragging about how they're managing their employer space, and some books out there as well. So, well, I have to say thanks for joining us. We're seeing the beginning of the end of the org chart, in my view. People are breaking the rules, and guess what? When people break rules, that's typically the first sign of a big, big breakthrough technology. We will continue to monitor this space. I call it Mrs. Doubtfire. Maybe it could be called double dipping tech. Maybe you have a better name for it, but it is undeniably a very, very big opportunity. So with that, thank you very much for joining. Again, Pete Mathias at Alumni Ventures. Reach out anytime. I would love to talk about this. I have a lot to learn. I'm fascinated by this space, and let's stay in touch on all fronts. Again, thanks for joining Deep Dives at Alumni Ventures.